Hello, everyone, and welcome to this evening segment of At the Table with Yeshua. Today is Saturday, January 15th, and I wanted to come on here and share with you what it is Yahweh revealed to me today in prayer. As I was spending time with prayer, in prayer with Yahweh earlier today, one of the things that I did see that He showed me, I could see ice everywhere, and it was almost like this. It was so picturesque, but it was almost like a kind of like a mountain-like view, and then I can see all of this ice just all over the place. And I heard Yahweh say ice caps. So as we're spending time in prayer, and I'm just asking Yahweh general questions about just different things at random. One of the things that I did ask him, I'm sorry, I'm trying to to get my notes together. If you know from previous videos, my notes are usually all over the place. I write wherever I have room. So when I asked Abba, is something supposed to happen? Because I kept hearing Arctic tundra. I've heard a little bit about it, in history and everything else, and when watching the Nature Channel and everything, but never anything that stood out to me. So when I kept hearing it, I was thinking, okay, is this going to be in reference to what today's message is going to be? What exactly does Yahweh want me to know about the Arctic tundra? Excuse me. So when I asked if something is supposed to happen at the tundra, Yahweh said warming. He said severe. He said land animals will die out. And then I asked him, I said, what will happen to the rest of the world once a severe warming happens in the Arctic tundra? And he said many floods, devastating. And I asked him, is there anything that we can do to prepare? And he said, pray that I hold back my hand. They will know that I did it. It will be considered an act of God. So, of course, as we know, when Yahweh hands down his judgment, he uses any number of things to get man's attention, to turn them away from their evil and wicked ways, to get them to serve him. And then there are times when he knows that people are not listening, they're not willing to yield. So he is going to do whatever he needs to do to make an impact. And so after he gave me this word, later on in the evening, I did kind of look up the Arctic tundra. Excuse me, I keep getting tongue-tied. Arctic tundra. And basically, it is so, it had some scientists that actually referred to it as the freezer. And basically what it's supposed to do is it has this whole polar vortex, and it's supposed to keep, our climate the way that it is, balanced. And then it has such major effects. One even stated that the reason why the major snowstorm and freeze happened in Texas was because of global warming, and actually some of that air being released from that vortex. So if you can only imagine what will happen once Yahweh sends this severe warming through the Arctic tundra, and how it's supposed to impact us. He said many floods, because these are ice caps, literally, and I say sheets of ice, for lack of a better word, sheets of ice that have been frozen, as these scientists have said, for thousands of years, that Yahweh said that he is going to send a severe warming into the Arctic tundra. And it is going to have major global impacts, not just in our nation, but around the world. major global impacts. Everything from environmental impacts from affecting the ecosystem, everything to affecting economics when it comes to our economy. They mentioned that because I just typed in a general question into Google, what would happen if, these ice caps, if there was a severe warming or if these ice caps melted in the Arctic tundra, exactly what would happen in that area. And me thinking about it beforehand, I was just thinking, okay, well, it's going to melt, maybe cause some residual floods in some areas. Yahweh said many floods. And he also, when he showed me this, and he kept saying Arctic tundra throughout, again, I didn't know exactly where he was going to take this. I didn't know exactly what was going to be said, but I just began to ask him these questions. So he wants us to be in prayer about holding back his hand as to the severe warming, the land animals that will die as a result of, because this is the ecosystem that they have come to depend on. Okay. As far as economics, I even saw one report where it stated that there are ships that go through this so-called channel, this so-called Arctic tundra. Okay. And they are the ones that it's a way of getting, I want to say, of getting our cargo and everything to us. So whatever happens, if this severe warming happens in the Arctic tundra, it's going to have major impacts. Not only that, when I was looking up this information, they stated that if this ice does start to melt, they've stated that it's melted drastically over the past few years. But if it starts to melt even more so, which as Yahweh stated, that the severe warming that would come through there, it is going to cause the sea levels to rise in many places, in many states all along the coastlines. They mentioned New York, they mentioned California. So for those of you that think that Yahweh isn't watching what we as a people are doing, that he isn't watching what the world is doing, and you think that he's just going to sit idly by and just let these things continue to happen, as I said time and time again, Yahweh is not that kind of God. He's the kind of God, well, he will give you time to get it right. But if he feels that you are not on the right path, you're not going to turn to him just by normal happenstance or just by him drawing you to him, he is going to cause things to happen. So oftentimes they'll say, oh, this is an effect of global warming, this, that, or the third. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, Yahweh is at work. He's at work. Forget what they say about global warming, okay? He is the one that controls the weather, the atmosphere, and everything around us. So if he wants to get your attention, he will get your attention. So he wants us to be in prayer. He said, pray that I hold back my hand. They will know that I did it. Act of God. So again, some people may say, oh, well, this has no consequence to me. This has no effect on me. You really don't know exactly how it would impact our lives here in the States or around the world. Once this severe warming happens, you really don't know the impact that it's going to have on our lives. They can say, oh, well, that's only affecting Antarctica, that's only affecting Alaska, that's only affecting Greenland, that's only affecting Russia. You can say that. But as we all know, when something happens of that nature in one area, it has a domino effect to the rest of the world. As much as we like to believe that we are different and we're not connected, we really are more connected than we would like to believe. So when Yahweh says that many floods would happen and that it would be devastating, it's because these sea levels are going to rise